Okay. Hello, everyone. Jacob, Nicole. Oh, no, wait. Jacob and Nicole, you're back, but I don't have my applause. I'm just going to have to applause. It's not as good
I don't
as
know.
yesterday's.
I don't know if it's official if you don't got the applause in the back, but
I gotta try to find it. No, you know what? It's too late.
that's
Okay.
all good.
Welcome to the show. Back to the show, Nicole and Jacob. I'm so glad that you're joining us for part two. We can continue this conversation. How are you guys doing today?
Oh,
Oh, we're doing good.
yeah, we're doing good. We're
Yeah,
doing good. It was very therapeutic talking about our
our life.
our life, I guess.
Yeah, really reflective, right? To see how far you
Yeah.
guys have come.
Yep.
Yeah.
I love
Yeah.
it. Okay, so before we move on, of course, I have to plug my book, Dear Me, What to Tell Yourself When You Feel Stuck by Mo Martin, available on Amazon.com. This book is great for helping you to organize your thoughts, clear your mindset, and get you on the right path to reaching all of the goals that you set. All right. So, last episode, there was a baby.
There was.
There was.
Not literally, but in the story, there was a baby. um, and we talked about how you guys found out because at this point, everything was pretty much on its way out the door. Jacob, you were heading to Puerto Rico to
Mhm.
go play baseball because you were in the minor leagues or what were you doing?
Yeah, actually, I made it on a semi-pro team out there. So I was a pitcher, yada yada, and yeah, that was like one of my big things back in the day. So I
Okay,
was
so
thinking of going
yeah, so
back to
this wasn't
baseball.
like or something random. This was something that you did. You would go out to Puerto Rico and to go play on your team. And
Yeah.
Nicole had enough of you and your nonsense, and so she was like,
Mhm.
"Bye."
Yep, exactly.
And then a baby. Yay! A baby. Okay, so the baby is coming or has come, and so quickly, let's talk about what happens when this baby gets here.
My whole life completely changed. I became an amazing dad, an amazing boyfriend.
Yeah.
It was like,
Wait,
I don't know, it was supernatural. No, I'm just kidding.
wait, Nicole's
That's what I thought was gonna happen, but that's not what happened.
Nicole's
So.
face
Yeah.
was not matching up to what you were saying as I was so confused. I was
Come on,
like,
babe, we
who do
practiced
I
this already.
I
No,
forgot
no,
to lie. No.
no, and that's in my mind. I thought that's what was gonna happen, but I couldn't change myself. You know what I mean? I
mm.
just couldn't do it. So, you
Yep.
know,
Baby
But
was born and problems were still there.
probably even
wow,
bigger now.
Yeah.
even worse because you hear a lot of people talk about having a kid and how much this kid has changed their lives and
Hmm.
so it just does not happen that way for everybody, I guess.
Right,
No.
right. I mean, if you're broken, you can't really, fulfill certain things in your life, or when other people come into the picture, it's like, how can I help this person, this little human coming into Earth, if I can't even like help myself right now? You know what I mean?
Oh,
So,
yes. That
yeah.
is the part right there. If you are broken.
Right.
So, what happened with you guys? Like, so obviously there was a marriage proposal at some point.
Yeah. So, you wanna you wanna add anything, or
No,
can I
you
just?
go. Yeah.
Okay. So, I'm just trying to take myself back to that part. Yeah. So, honestly, I just continued to thinking I was, this guy didn't have any responsibilities. I was still living a careless life. Nicole had picked herself up because she had to be with the baby as a mom and stuff like that. But for me, it was like I found myself going out like probably even more than I was before.
Hmm.
Wow.
And it was probably because of all like stress and stuff that I was like feeling that I couldn't really be who I was trying to become. You know what I mean? And it was
Hmm.
like kind of like right in my face. So the best thing to do is just to numb it with some alcohol and call it the day. So that's what I kept doing. And I'm gonna get into the part where um, I was out drinking one night, and I was with my friend. We were hanging out, whatever, and then we were out of cigarettes, so we were gonna go to the bodega to go buy uh, you know, some Lucy's, they call them. You know what I mean? So we were out on our way out there, and we're going through this light. It was a blinking yellow light, and we go right through under the bridge. And before you know it, I didn't even see it happen. this girl just jumps right up in front, like literally right in front of us. And I was going at a pretty good speed too. So I had no time to stop, nothing. Like we just completely like went
T-boned?
right. Yeah, we T-boned her. We went right into her. It was
Oh
just
God.
yeah, it was horrible. It was kind of like in slow motion and everything, like they say it is, but like there was no time to do anything but just brace for impact. And I didn't even have my seatbelt on at the time.
Wow.
So I believe this is what my friend tells me. He said that I don't even know what happened, but he said he bear hugged me out of reaction. And then I still went like, I broke the windshield with my forehead, but I probably would have gone through if not that had happened. You know what I mean? Just to yeah. So like I was in a lot of pain. I was all busted up, and I remember laying on the
Wow.
floor, and I'm like all this pain, and this stripper comes from like
What's the strip club?
Mr. Happy's on the stripper.
What? Wait a minute.
She came to his rescue.
Yeah,
A
she
stripper
came over.
saved you.
A stripper, like she was holding my neck. She was like, "Don't worry, baby, everything's gonna be all right."
Oh
You know what I
wow.
mean?
Oh
But like
wow.
you could tell it was like she had this like motherly instinct about her, and
Yeah.
she just
Yeah.
like God used her during that time to like watch over me until the like ambulance came to
Oh
like
my
take me and stuff,
gosh.
Yep.
So, but yeah, so that ended up happening, and then I'm in the hospital bed. Um, I have a neck brace on. Nicole makes it to the hospital because she heard the ambulance.
Yeah.
Because the ambulance goes up by our house.
Yep.
So, and we hadn't. What was it?
Were
Go
you,
ahead.
Well, we were by the time he left, this all happened within like 5 minutes of him leaving the house. But it was
so you weren't even out long. You
No.
No, we were
you
just
weren't
going on a run.
drinking. You weren't okay.
It was just to get cigarettes and come right back, and we were
Oh
in a
my
hurry.
God.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I heard an ambulance, and a thought came to my mind that that's for Jacob. But I was like, no, don't freak out. And then I think
Wow.
30 seconds later, he calls me and he tells me he's been in a car accident and the ambulance is coming. And it was crazy.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh. So your
Um,
car was totaled?
Oh
Is that
yeah,
Oh
and
my
it was
gosh.
that bad?
you know how those new cars are now, or the newer cars, they're like soda cans. So like it was just like completely
Yeah.
like
Oh.
like demolished. You know what I mean? I'm blessed to even be alive here today, but yeah, I'm still thinking like, oh, this is like I'm joking with the doctors and stuff, and still not coming to mind like what exactly just happened. You know what I mean? Because I was
Mm.
still a little bit inebriated.
Yeah, in
But I
shock.
remember, but through
Mhm.
my inebriation, through my not clear thoughts, through everything, through all that, I'm laying in the hospital, and just something inside of me, like what I didn't tell you guys was that, like in my like probably in the prime of like my party days, like I want to say like 23ish, 24 maybe, 25 around there.
Mm-hmm.
I had told God, I was like, God, look, like, I'm gonna party in my 20s. I'm gonna do what I want to do. But if you just watch over me, like before I turn 30 years old, like I'll give my life to you. I'll surrender everything. I'll serve you, you know? And here like looking back at it, I thought that was like enjoying life, but I didn't realize I was destroying myself and wasting my
Yeah.
time doing all these things. Now this is where we're really partying, on the other side. But yeah, so I'm here in the hospital, and that thought just comes to mind. I hadn't even thought about that thought until probably like the last time I said it to him. You know what I mean? That when I spoke to
Right. When you
God.
originally, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Exactly. But all of a sudden that thought is clear as day. Remember what you told me before you turn 30,
Wow.
you were gonna serve me. Like that thought just like came right into my mind. Shoo, and I was like, oh my gosh.
And
And this was like
how old were
what,
you?
like I was like what?
29.
Yeah, I was 29, like going on almost 30. Like I turned
Yeah.
30 like maybe 3-4 months in April, the following
No
year.
way.
Yeah.
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 Wait, okay. So you're 29, turning 30 in April, and the accident happened when? Like what month?
That was like the end of July.
Was it July?
Yeah.
Oh wow. So it could have been like it was
Yeah. So you had that thought, but when you really gave your life to the Lord, that was like December.
Yeah.
So then a
Oh
few
my
months
gosh. But that accident happened, and that was like one of the first things clear as day popped up in your
oh
head
my gosh.
as a reminder.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Right in the
Wow.
hospital. Yeah.
Oh my God. Talk about God listening, right?
Yeah.
The Bible says
crazy.
he hears our cries. He
Yeah.
hears everything that we say to him. So
Yeah.
he
Yeah.
rung that in. He was like, hey, remember this?
Yep.
Not only does he hear us, but he remembers. You know what I mean? Like I that was
Yeah.
something that I had completely forgot about. That was out the
You
door. I was
forgot
like,
about it. Yeah.
yeah. But God, he definitely reminded me. You know, and he had to shake me up in order to do so. You know, he was obviously watching over my life. You know, because I like I said, I could have been dead, but God had a different plan and a purpose, and he spared my life, and I didn't take that very like I took that very seriously. Weeks after, months after went by, I just, no matter what I did, I couldn't get that thought out of my head. What if I died that night, you know thinking of like what Natalie and Nicole's life would have looked like without having a father in their life, of this guy who was just drinking and driving and just didn't make it. And where would have my soul been, because I was just living in sin recklessly. It didn't matter that my dad was going to church, or my mom or my grandma was praying for me, or anything like that. It was like my soul was not serving God, and I was not living a life that was, so I was in, so my soul was like in trouble if I would have died, and I just couldn't get that out of my mind until I finally, it was just one of those nights where I was like just battling with myself, battling with like insecurities, battling with not being like the man that like I desired to be. And I just got tired of like trying. I finally gave up, and I was like, I'm done. So I go up to my room and I'm like, God, I fully surrender my life to you. And I asked Jesus to come into my life that night. But I meant it with like a sincere heart. You know what I mean? Like, it was just like, Jesus, I need you. Like, my life is a mess. Like, I have so many vices. I have so many problems that I'm struggling with. I can't be a father like I want to be. I can't be a good boyfriend, or even think about being a husband. And I was just broken. So I just got on my knees, and as I'm praying, I feel like this heaviness being lifted off of me. Like, it was really like something like very like supernatural, I guess you want to call it. But I just felt like something being lifted, and I felt like my shoulders were just like really light. And
Wow.
yeah, it was pretty amazing. Like, and then I remember right after doing that, I'm opening the word, and it opened up to John, I believe 15, how he talks about like he's the vine and we're the branches. But it wasn't like ever reading the Bible before. I felt like Jesus was reading it to me. It was like the word came to life. It was pretty amazing. And that's when I was like, whoa, like this is for real, and believe it or not, like all the things right after that, they just started falling off. Like, it was like effortlessly, like, like I struggled with like, a pornography addiction, and everything that came with that. Like, I couldn't even look at that after I gave my life to Christ. Like, it looked disgusting to me. You know what I mean? Like,
Wow.
yeah, just like the whole drinking thing. You know, my friends would hit me up or call me. He's like, dude, come on, let's go drink. Stop playing around. I know you want to drink. And I'm like, dude, I'm for real. Like, I don't want to drink like that. Like, literally, God took that desire, out of my heart. You know what I mean? Because it's not a thing of like being strong-willed or anything like that. It's a heart issue that we have, and of brokenness. And once God heals your heart, it's everything else flows from that. You know what I'm saying? So it was like he fixed me up inside, and that's when I really started to see a change in my life. And most importantly, that's when Nicole started to see a change in my life as well.
Well, I was going to ask Nicole, so you obviously, Jacob, you shared this with your wife, or well, she wasn't your wife yet, right? You guys were
Right.
just engaged, but you share this with her that you've given your life to God. Nicole, what were like your thoughts? Like, you have this party animal for a boyfriend. What were your thoughts?
I remember I always tried to give him the benefit of the doubt.
You're such a sweetheart. Oh my goodness.
And of course, I heard so many times that I'm going to change, I'm going to do this. One of the things that felt different was usually Jacob did really something bad and then would say those words. And like, he didn't do something, I know he got into the accident in July, but around the time that he gave his life to the Lord, there wasn't anything specific that he did so bad. It was just like, this is what I did. I just gave my life to the Lord. And I noticed, I believe that I noticed a really big change. And I was just like, all right, let's wait and see, you know?
Okay, because you've heard him say things like, I'm going to change, I'm going to do better, I'm going to stop going out. You've heard this
Yeah.
Yeah.
things
And we were
before.
going to, mind you, we were going to church before that just to please my father.
Yeah.
And I was going to church with a hangover. You know what I mean? I was being like,
Oh, snap.
I was just going just to be like, all right, check. Like I went to
Right,
church. You know what I mean?
attendance, like, yes, I'm
Yeah.
here. But
Yeah.
you
But
weren't really there.
there was no relationship. It was just dry.
Wow.
Like, yeah. So, I
Wow.
mean, anybody could go to church. That don't mean nothing. You know what I mean? I did it. I faked
Yeah.
it. And, just to please my parents. But yeah, that was like the first time where like, I was like, that's it. Like I really desired like Jesus in my life.
There's something so interesting that I'm finding out as I'm talking to different people, and even in my own life with my own stories and all the craziness that I went through in my own life. But there's a commonality with when we say these honest, simple prayers, and it's like, and
Yeah.
God knows the sincerity behind it. It's not one of those like, oh, please just get me out of trouble this time, and it's like that simple, honest, sincere prayer. But there's always a feeling that's accompanied with it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Yeah.
and it's so interesting to me that you said that you could actually physically feel
Hmm.
that something like heavy was being lifted off of you. I remember when I was I tried to commit suicide, and once it was interrupted, I just sat there and I was just talking to God, like crying and like, God, like, do you really have something for my life? Because I don't want to be here anymore. And there was just this, again, a physical feeling, a
Yep.
warmth, like like a heated, an electric blanket. This is
Yep.
the
Yeah.
best way I can describe it. Like someone coming and just wrapping you with a warm blanket. I felt it, but not only on the outside of me, I felt it on the inside. And it just
Mhm.
felt like I was being hugged.
Yeah.
So
Like embrace, like a warm embrace.
yes, yes.
Yeah.
So I just find it so interesting. And maybe that's a way that people can kind of know, like, that's God's presence. Like, you're going to feel it.
Right.
Right.
He doesn't
Right.
just leave you there, like, okay, I don't know if you heard me or not. Like, you are going to feel that something took
Yeah.
place.
Oh yeah. And it's actually a verse that I was looking up today. Psalms 50:15 says, "Call upon the Lord, and I will rescue you." So like,
Mm,
he like whenever there's a call, like there's always a response from him. As long as
mm.
like you're sincere about it and you really mean it, and
Yes.
because Jesus really, I mean, we can't see within ourselves, but he sees the genuineness of like what we're telling him. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
we could just say a prayer, a sinner's prayer, just to say it.
Yeah.
But if there's no meaning behind it, like God knows, you know what I mean? He's
Mm-hmm.
not a fool, So
Yeah.
yeah, this was like sincere, and like I said, all these like things that like had strongholds in my life, like that were like felt like the chains were just broken, man. And I never looked back on like a lot of those things. Never look back.
I think
And
that is so awesome.
yeah.
That we're gonna stop right here for just a second and take a quick break. Hear a word from our sponsors real quick. We're gonna come right back really fast because we need to I have more questions for you guys, and I know you want to finish up your part of the story, and then we're gonna get into some discussion. Okay, so
Mhm.
when we come back after this. Okay, everyone, welcome back. So let's finish. So Nicole, I want to start with you. Coming back off the break. So you notice that your husband is changing. At what point did you feel like you needed to kind of follow in his footsteps, so to speak?
I would say I remember, I think it was maybe a week or two after we got married. I just really felt like never before. Like I always believed that that God was real, but following Jacob's example was just crucial to me. It just made me. I felt like this light bulb went off where it was like, okay, this God is real, and
Mm,
He's really just working in our life. And even like I never understood the Bible. It was so intimidating to me. And I just started reading it on my own and understanding it. Obviously, God giving me wisdom to understand it. But it was just this, I've never felt that way before in my life, especially because I never went to church literally at all in my childhood.
Oh, wow. So then,
Yeah.
you just started going when you met him, when you guys were
Yeah.
just showing up for attendance.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. What an example I was setting for her, huh? This is how you do it, babe.
Just show
Right.
up.
Just show up. Just lift one hand, keep it up for like 5 seconds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They'll leave you alone. So,
Yeah.
Jacob, at any point were you, I don't want to say pressuring, but were you pressuring her to be saved, to accept Jesus, to do what you were doing?
Well,
How did that go?
I don't know about pressuring, but all I could do is talk about Jesus all the time. So she heard about it, like, like when you find something like a treasure or a million, I know we haven't found $1 million, but if we did,
I know that.
we would tell everybody about it. You know what I mean? And that's how excited I felt, like I'd found this treasure, and my friends didn't want to be, they didn't want to be around me anymore because all I was talking about was Jesus. And Nicole was living with me at the time, so she had no choice but to listen to me. So, she finally probably just gave in, like, you know what, I'm gonna try this Jesus out too.
Yeah.
But
Wow.
yeah, no, I didn't want to pressure her because no one could pressure me to get where where I had
Yeah.
to get. So it has to be willingly. God gives us that free will, which is so important.
Yeah.
So what
Yeah.
other changes took place? Like, so you weren't going out, you weren't partying as much, you're in the Bible, you're reading. What else changed or seemed to change drastically? What?
Yeah, like I felt like convicted that, like, I told Nicole, I'm like, look, like we can't sleep in the same room anymore. I'm gonna be moving upstairs, like
Oh,
Until we got married.
until I was like, we have to get married, because I had proposed to her, like
2 years
2 years before, but it was just kind of like a thing, like, all right, here's your ring, will you marry? Like, but there was nothing like, all right, I'm really gonna settle down. It was just like, this is just something to do. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
there was no like,
Yeah, you have a baby now, so this was the next right thing.
Yeah.
exactly.
But I also didn't want to rush getting married too, because like we said before, I didn't trust Jacob at all. And, I felt that it would be easier if we broke up to just break up rather than get a divorce or
Right.
anything like that.
Yeah,
So
that can get
So
expensive.
smart. Yeah, so smart. So, okay, so 2 years of you guys living together, doing your thing, and then Jacob, just one day you're like, I'm not gonna move out, but we can't sleep in the same. Nicole, what were your thoughts? Like, did you look at him like he was crazy?
a little bit. I was like, oh boy, let's see.
No more boom boom in the room, you know what I mean?
Yeah. But I respected it, and I was like, okay, all right,
Go with the flow, Nicole. Girl, I like you so much.
Going with the flow.
Yeah. So we had arranged to get married January 10th. Was it 2016, right?
16, yeah.
Yeah, 2016.
Wait, no, 15.
Was it 2015?
Yep.
Yeah, 2015. Sorry.
Okay. So how many months, and you decided to split rooms and all that. So how many months did you need to wait?
That was about 1 month.
About a month.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
It wasn't much longer than that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good 30 days,
Yeah.
Get your own.
30 days is hard when you've gone,
so many years. Yeah. Okay.
So but yeah, so I was even like, oh my gosh, like I want to make sure that I'm making the right decision here, because Nicole and I just did whatever, we had a child, and now here we are. But I never asked God, like, God, is this like the woman that you have for me in my life? I was just doing what I wanted to do. So I just needed that little confirmation from God that I was like, that like this is what it was, you know what I mean? Like, this is where he wanted me. So I did one of those things, one of those prayers, like that I tend to do. And
Bible roulette, just skipping through the Bible.
Yes, good old Bible roulette when you don't know what to do.
Yeah, but this one was on the first bullet, man. This one was on the first bullet, the first trigger. I was like, God, if this is the woman that you have for me in my life, like, show me through your word. Boom, open up the Bible. Ezekiel 40, in the first verse, if you read it, if you go and look at it, it says like, in the first month, on the 10th day after the 14th year, I think it says, like, he brought me closer to him. And that was exactly the exact date, like January, the first month, the 10th day, January 10th, after the 14th year, 2015. January 10th, 2015 was the same exact day that we had planned to like get married.
Oh
So,
my, you already planned, you guys had already had that date.
yeah, we already had
Before
that date, but I was like, what am I doing? I got to ask God about this first, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And God showed me like, look, you're on the right track. Like even through our
That
messes, like God is like doing something behind
That
the
is
scenes, you know?
amazing.
I think that's another thing that made me feel like, what are the odds?
Yeah.
What are
As soon as I saw it, I ran down and I
Yeah.
told Nicole, I'm like, babe, look at this. I just prayed. And I was like explaining to her, and she's like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's mind blowing, like to anybody. And again, God hears us, and when we're sincere. So I know we're kind of like laughing and joking, like Bible roulette, like, God, should I do this or that? And you kind of like flip through but you were sincere. You wanted to know if this was the right thing for your life, and he used that opportunity to answer you. So God is alive, people.
Yeah.
And he works through us, even through our immaturity or whatever, you know, like God, like
Whatever level you're at. Yeah.
Exactly. Like he comes down to your level and he doesn't judge you based on that. He just loves you right where you're at, man. It's amazing. He treats you right there.
Yep.
So now God enters into your life, Jacob, and then shortly after, Nicole, after January 10th, now we're all going to remember that. Everybody's going to remember your wedding anniversary.
Yeah.
Put the address on the podcast. You can send us a gift and everything like that.
Every January 10th, yes. So, and then shortly after that, Nicole, you end up receiving Christ into your life as well. Can you guys, I know it's hard to be brief, but can you briefly talk about the changes and like how much that did for your lives individually, but then also as a couple?
What, like her giving her life to Christ?
Yeah, both of you at this point have Christ in your life. Yeah.
Sorry, you go first.
Yeah, well, first of all, like an internal transformation, which was like, you know, evident, you know what I mean, in both of our lives. Our hunger for the Lord, and just I began to realize how easy it is to give and how easy it is to love other people when you finally like receive God's love in your life, you know, like openly. And so that's what we did. We were like on the run, like super passionately, like, you know, even through my
everything.
we were doing like
we
were doing too much because we were so excited. You know, we were like,
what do you mean? What were you guys doing?
Like, we were going to every event.
We were asking homeless people to come live with us. We were, you know,
lots of people lived with us during that time.
Yeah, I gave away my car. Like we were just like fully money, like just
cleaning the church.
We did a cleaning crew for the church. Like our pastor's car broke down. We gave him our brand new van, like just until whenever. Like we were just like whatever. Like it all belongs to God. But like, one thing that I realized, and I really want to, you know, anyone who's like jumping into ministry early stage in your life, like this is something that I learned the hard way, is like, I was so passionate for the things of God, which is awesome, but don't forget your family. Don't leave your family behind. You know, that's like something super important that you're going to learn in this life is, because here I was trying to save the world, but I was like leaving my family behind. Like it wasn't the right thing. So through the years, you know, especially now, like doing ministry, I'm like, no, Nicole, we're doing this together. Like come on, babe, let's go. And like, I want to like, and I could see the hunger that she has now that she's doing it. And she feels like she's definitely a part of this. Like, and our kids too. Like we don't leave our kids with no babysitters, nothing. Like we're going out doing like evangelism or feeding the homeless or whatever it is. Like my whole family's going. We're all going.
I love that.
You know what I mean?
Yes, because a lot of people, you know, divorce is just as high in Christian faith and Christian households as it is secularly. Okay, we in that 50% too. And a lot of it has to do with what you're talking about, Jacob, the fact that, you know, one of the two will feel like they're called to do something or get involved in ministry, and you know, slowly but surely it's pulling them away from the marriage or pulling them away from family life, and it causes a strain. And so I love that you learned that early. What were some of the signs that it was like, okay, I need to look at this differently?
I was being out all day trying to help everybody else, and then I would just give the scraps to my wife and kids, my time, you know what I mean? Like you can do so much, but one thing that we all have in common is like we all have 24 hours in the day. You know, like what are you doing with that time? You know what I mean? So I like make it intentional to like spend time with the kids, to spend time with my wife, to like watch a Seinfeld episode just with my wife and hang out and like pig out on the bed and eat like Thai or
we just did that.
pho, you know what I mean? Yeah. So just being being more intentional, you know? Definitely.
And I'm sure communication as well, right, Nicole? Like being able to communicate to say, hey, and being honest, like, I don't know, this is kind of taking up a lot of time. Can you talk to us about that?
Yep. I definitely let him know with my eye rolls that I would be annoyed or or I would just get so frustrated. But I also was such a baby in the Lord where I'd be like, I would think that me wanting him here more was selfish. So I didn't know how to like approach that at first. But and also too, like, I mean, not constantly tattletaling on your spouse, but reaching out to trusted people that you look up to really helped us through some difficult times in those moments.
Yeah, almost like mentors.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm a horrible communicator. Like she's been like I'm slowly learning even now like how to communicate and just not hold things in. You know, as men, I think we're taught to like stop being a wuss, like suck it up, and like you hold all this stuff in, you don't communicate it, and then all of a sudden you just gotta burst, and so you can't. You know what I mean?
Right.
So learning how to communicate is like essential in a healthy relationship for sure.
And it also was hard just you know, not trying to, but like his parents' marriage was really difficult for him as a kid. And so communicating was just non-existent. And so that had like something to do with it that we would have to work through as well.
I like that.
When that's all you see growing up, you think that that's what a marriage is supposed to look like, but there were a lot of flaws, like, you know, Nicole was talking about. So God had to like rewire my thinking.
Yeah, retrain your brain. Go ahead and say it. Go ahead. That's the tagline. Go ahead. You have to retrain your brain. Yeah, because if that's all you see and that's all you know, even when you know that it's not the right way to do it, it's just the way we are wired, is that what we feed ourselves, whatever we see, hear, what we say, it becomes automatic thought and automatic action. And even when we know it's not good, this is why people end up doing things that even though they know is not good, but it's like you don't know anything else. So you have to put in that time in the work to retrain your brain. Speaking of that, was there a time at all during this transformation of both of your lives that you guys kind of fell off track? Because to go partying hard the way you were and doing and hanging out with people and all of that, and then changing your life, you know, changing, and now you have this family and everything. Was there a time where things kind of just wasn't flowing so nicely?
So like to be honest with everybody here, like we do not have a perfect marriage. Like we still struggle with things, you know, and we don't got it all like, you know, together, right? I know like on social media, sometimes it seems like, wow, look at this like perfect family or whatever, but we're far from that. But we serve a perfect God who's like working through our mess and through our struggles, you know? So, you know, we still like, we're struggling with certain things in our marriage. We're actually, we're actually thinking about can I say like, yeah?
Go ahead.
Nicole, your faces are great. They say everything.
Yeah. No, I just want to have this on video so I can go back as evidence.
Well, yeah. I mean, only if both of you guys are comfortable. If you're not comfortable to discuss, you don't need to.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's she'll beat me up later for it. No, we're
and she's short too, and those short girls, you gotta watch out for them.
Yes,
it's them low blows you gotta watch out for. But yeah, no, we're thinking about like having a third child, you know, and you know, we feel like it might be time, you know what I mean? But but there's like certain things still in our relationship that still needed some fixing. So we're even going to go like to our pastor, not that like we have this horrible like problem in our marriage, but there's still certain things that we need to work on. You know, I feel like
Yeah.
if you're not working on your on anything that's in front of you, like, then either you gave up, or you know, or yeah, you pretty much gave up, because there's always room for improvement in anything that you're doing, you know. So,
Yes.
and that includes your marriage. So, you know, we just want to cover certain aspects that of our marriage to improve on it,
Yes.
you know.
Yes.
And that's
That's
something that
great.
she was really persistent about. She's like, I want to, you know, go through like, you know, pastoral like marriage counseling before, so that way, you know, we can be on the right track when this new baby comes along. So I was like, I agreed to it, you know,
Mm-hmm.
because, you know, we just have to become humble. We can't think we know it all. And, you know, and also it's good to, you know, to have someone that you can like trust, to look at it from like the outside of the house, looking into the window in a neutral position where they're there to like encourage and to build up, rather than like, you know, sometimes as a couple, like we're just looking for flaws or weaknesses to jab at, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I'm gonna get you here, like, oh, okay, and then you got me here, you know. And it becomes like more of your guard up,
Yeah.
instead of just like building each other up, because we're one team at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? If she fails in something, it's like I'm failing. If I fail in something, it's like she's failing, because we're in this together. And that's one thing you
Yes.
have to realize, is like, you guys are a team. You know, it's not me against you, it's us against the world, you know?
Yes.
So it's like, that's how it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that is great advice. Like no matter how long people are together, you guys are always changing.
Yep.
And so with
Mm-hmm.
those changes, then yes, of course, go get that support, go get that extra help, you know, get a different perspective on things and
Yeah.
build. That's how you build legacy. That's how you build strong
Yeah.
households, is when you are constantly building. Listen, these major corporations out here, they're raking in millions and millions of dollars, but I bet you they're still going to conferences, self-development, you know,
Yep.
and all these things to better their service, better their brand,
Yep.
all of those
Yeah.
things. So why not for marriages? Why not for our households, you know?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I love
True.
that.
Yeah.
So, okay, so here's the part that we couldn't wait to get to. What are you guys into now? Do we have YouTube channels, pages, ministries? What's going on, and how can we support you guys?
Um,
No YouTube.
yeah,
We
no,
haven't done anything like that.
yeah.
Not yet.
I did have a
Maybe.
YouTube thing I was doing for like, we were doing some outreach in the green like a couple years ago. It
Mm-hmm.
was like a lot of like healing videos and stuff, like praying for people and stuff, but
Okay.
I haven't really done that in quite some time. But now we're actually we were doing the crossover. I was doing the crossover for Christ thing that I spoke about that in the first
Right.
so, but the Lord put on our heart, like even before COVID, or put on my heart to do something with like the inner city and Waterbury for the homeless people,
Mm-hmm.
Mm,
and how they needed to hear the gospel. So, you know, but I was like too wrapped up in myself at the time. I was too wrapped up in like, you know, my time and just, you know, just trying to just kind of hoard that in a way. And God kept tugging at my heart. And finally I was like, all right, I'll do it, you know. And I just kind of, you know, allowed his will to be done. And I told Nicole about it, and she was on board. So I knew that was God, because we were on, you know, in one accord on
on the
that.
same page, yeah.
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 So now on Sundays, we don't even have a name for it.
No,
That
there's
just
no
goes to
name.
show you, like, it doesn't matter. All that stuff is just fluff. Like, it's about like hearing God and responding and saying yes,
Yeah.
and like taking that step of faith, and don't worry about anything else. All that's
Yeah.
gonna come. I don't want to get too biblical, but if you notice how Jesus, he called the disciples two and two, he sent them out to go preach the gospel, to go cast out demons, to go heal the sick.
Yes.
And he said, don't, he
Mhm.
said, don't, but he said, but one thing, don't take anything with you on the journey, because I'm
Mm.
going to provide everything that you need during those steps. And I feel like
Wow.
sometimes we want to have every angle covered, we want to have the YouTube, we want to have everything. And it's like, man, that all that stuff is great, but it's like where your heart is at, and like going for what God has called you to do, and just watching him take over, and boom, just blowing everything up.
Right.
Just, you know, so yes, so it was like what
What?
we've been there for 2 Sundays now, where we're feeding the homeless. because the soup kitchen is actually closed on Sunday, so they don't have anywhere to eat. And there's a whole bunch of homeless people, and there's drug addiction, a whole bunch of type of people that just gather in that one area.
Yeah.
Wow.
So we're able to like help out a lot of people in one small area in Waterbury. So our daughters and Nicole, like feeding giving them sandwiches, and Natalie's singing now, like, and
little Natalie.
we were like crying, like we couldn't believe that our daughter was actually like, she's shy,
very shy.
Like, I mean, I'm talking about like that the ballet recital, like the only one, like
stood there.
Like a frozen fish, and just like,
poor baby.
and here she is, like singing, not caring about like what people like think or anything. And it was amazing. It was beautiful. And Nicole was crying, and then I started tearing up. And but yeah, so God has called us to do that. And then we're noticing how people are just coming along, like along our side, to just continue this thing. And it's like people are providing clothes, food. It's becoming bigger than what just we could ever think. Like
in 1 week.
In 1 week time.
We had more, like triple what we had the first time.
Yeah, people that are like donating, like yourself, thank you, thank you, God bless you for that. People that are just going into like the vision that God has given us, man, and it's like we're running with it.
I mean, that's
family.
That's one of the ways that you're heading in the right direction and in your purpose, is that God will bring you the help, the support, the people. You may not have all the answers, you may not have all the dots connected, but God does. He knows everything, and he will supply everything. And yes, the Retrain Your Brain Effect has donated to you guys, and we look forward to continue donating to you guys in the future. So if anybody is interested in helping you guys to continue this, and you don't have a name for it yet, right? You said?
No, we don't. We're still brainstorming on that, I'm thinking something that has to do along like being like the bread of life, you know what I mean? Because it's like we're feeding these people like, physically, but we're also preaching the gospel to them, giving our testimonies, and just showing them that there's hope in Jesus. So it's like we're giving them that spiritual bread that their souls desperately need.
I love how these stories turn around. That's like the stuff that, I mean, you guys were, you weren't one of those kinds of people, but you guys were out there, you were hanging, you were doing all of this, and then just to turn it all around and now help people that are, struggling in their lives right now. I just love it. It is a beautiful story. Beautiful. I'm so proud of you guys. So if people want to support and help, how can they do that?
You can probably look me up on my Facebook, Jacob Barber, Barbour, and that's mostly like the platform that we use to kind of update people on what's going on in the create and different things like that, what's going on, and I also have like a link there for like different like if you want to make like a donation or something like that, you can just look and scroll and you'll see it there. I don't like to like push people to be like, hey, do you want to help us? You know what I mean? Because I know that God's going to provide and we shouldn't be begging. But at the same time, I just want people to like partner up with us, whether it be just your prayers, like prayers go a long way. Like you heard this testimony, so prayers work, and so just, you can look us up there. That's pretty much like what I use.
So that's what you use to update everyone, and because I know I saw pictures of you guys out there, and it was just such a beautiful sight to see. And it was also awesome to know that my program was a part of that. And so I want other people to feel really good too and give to that, because when you follow them on Facebook and then you see the pictures of these people going to grab food or I think you were providing the women with feminine hygiene products and all these different things, and you see people out there and you see little Natalie holding the microphone and singing, it makes your heart feel really, really good. So listeners, I'm going to encourage you, and my YouTube subscribers, I'm going to encourage you to give something, even if it's just $5. You are helping these people, prostitutes, people that are on drugs and alcohol, homeless. They're out here. They are begging and searching for some kind of love, some kind of support, some kind of help. And Jacob and Nicole, and it's cold out there in Connecticut too. They are leaving their nice, warm, cozy homes taking their two beautiful daughters, and they are out there and willing to donate their time, their energy, and their spirit to go out there and do that. The least we can do is send you guys some kind of money. If you're in Connecticut, how do they drop off actual items to you?
Ooh, where?
So
Right at the spot?
Or
yeah,
if
so
you, okay. Oh, the
people have
spot.
been
She said
people.
at the spot.
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
Right there.
That's what you should call it, the spot.
I know, right?
Yeah, that's no right on. I believe it's 360. Ironically, 360 Baldwin Street.
Wow, look at that.
Yeah.
And wait, and your dad, did he own that building?
My dad owned the building right across. So like 20 years, no, more than like,
Your
oh
dad
my
was
gosh.
preaching out there?
Yeah,
30,
like
40?
about 35, 40 years. My dad was going out, reaching to the kids and bringing them to church and giving the gospel in the
my
same street that
goodness.
we're doing it now. So like,
Look at y'all's
God,
story is too much. I can't.
it's crazy.
There's
Yeah.
always some little
I
connection,
just
some
remember
little
that.
surprise. So
Yeah.
over on, so if you can say the address again for those that are in your area,
Yeah,
if they would like to drop
actually
things off.
it's a guy that owns an appliance store, a really nice guy.
Mhm.
He lets us use like his parking there on the corner of
Electricity.
Baldwin and East Liberty on 360 Baldwin Street.
Okay.
And we're there at like from noon to like I want to say 2 o'clock.
Mhm.
Like people have been coming by just dropping off turkeys, dropping off like
Oh, wow.
bags of food, just like
they were two big boxes.
you know, it's
that came
crazy
through.
when like someone does something and you see like everyone is encouraged and it's like, all right, we're a body. Boom, boom, boom,
Yes.
boom, boom. It's just crazy,
Yeah.
man. It's just like God, like you're bigger than we can ever like fathom, you know what I mean?
I love this. I love it so much. So if you are in the Waterbury, Southbury, Woodbury, if you're in that area, you're close enough. On Sundays, starting at noon, you'll see the beautiful Nicole and the handsome Jacob out there. And go ahead and drop off, donate some items to them, or even stand by, go help out and hand out some stuff. And if you are too far to go lend a helping hand, follow Jacob Barber on Facebook. That's Jacob with a C, Jacob. Barber, Barbor. Jacob Barber on Facebook. That was a tongue twister for a minute. And I'm sure he'll be posting up links, but if you scroll through his page, you should find a link to donate monetarily, I believe through PayPal.
Yeah, PayPal, and then I do Venmo. I don't understand any of that stuff, so I'm like,
or Venmo.
whatever.
So okay,
Yeah,
PayPal or Venmo.
learning it.
And make sure you guys help them out. Winter is actually, I was going to say winter is coming, but I think it's out there already. So, you know, hats,
Yeah,
scarves,
so like
gloves, blankets, all those things.
Coats, any coats, and the only thing is we encourage is like it's something gently used, because like if it's something that you wouldn't give your family member, like you shouldn't be giving it to these people. Like they deserve, they don't deserve like our just like I don't like, here's something, you know what I mean? Like they deserve, we got to serve with excellence, and I believe that that's like huge. You know?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Of course.
It's got to be like if that was like Jesus right there, like you're helping out Jesus, like in His Word it says it. Like when did you feed the poor? When did you clothe? He said, when you did that to those people, you did it unto me. So it's like we got to serve those people like if that's like Jesus himself. So
yeah, I like that. That is so cool. Well, you guys are just so blessed and so amazing. And I'm very glad that you guys took your time to come on to my show, my little show, and share your story. I really love having you.
We're really grateful that you that you thought about us. That's like an honor. We're like, when you asked us, we're like, what, like us? Like what are we?
I know. I was like, what am I gonna say?
Nicole, Nicole was
I was like
nervous.
I was like nervous. I was like, my life, it's so boring. I'm a mom.
No way, your story is not boring. By the way, the name of your episodes, it's called Hanging by a Thread.
Oh
yeah. On point.
Because we didn't have a name for the first part. Now we have it for the second part, Hanging by a Thread. So thank you guys so very much. And as always, this is not going to be the last time that we see you. We're going to be seeing you guys again, probably in season 2. So I can't wait to catch up with you then. Any last words of encouragement, wisdom, suggestions, anything for the listeners before we go?
What do you, I said something last time. It's your turn.
This came to me before. Serve like Jesus.
Yeah.
To serve like Jesus. That's awesome.
Mhm.
All right, guys, we love you so much. Thank you. And to my listeners, if you can hang on for just a moment, coming up next.